This is WDAF Kansas City. It's 11 o'clock.
News of the hour on the hour from American Information Radio. This is Steve Powers from New York. And at this hour, a positive reaction to the acquittal of John Mitchell and Maurice Stans extends from the defendants themselves to the White House and to Geneva. For the defendants, the reaction was predictable. They were happy. Maurice Stans.
Looking back, all I would like to say in conclusion is that even the book of Job has a very happy ending. And that's the way I feel today.
Stans had praise for the jury, and so did John Mitchell.
It was decided by 12 good American people, part of the cross-section of all of America.
Mitchell says now he's going to take a vacation and a drink. The other side, that story coming up.
You may live with it for 1,000 years, and there is still challenge. And you see, the young people are searching for the answers to life.
Organist Virgil Fox for music in our schools.
I don't think there's any way possible to have children have music too early. I think that music in the lives of the young is probably as important as the breath in their lungs or the blood in their veins. The child who is permitted to brush with music, to cope with it, to dance to it, to feel it, to express it, to make it, is a child who is always several plateaus higher. There's no doubt that beautiful music brings out the finest, and the more we have of it, the better everything else is.
Help to bring out the finest in all our children. Support music in your schools. A message from the Music Educators National Conference.
The chief prosecutor, John Wing, said he felt rotten after the jury found Mitchell and Stans innocent of all counts in the Vesco affair.
I'm disappointed in the verdict, and there's nothing else I really can say.
Are you satisfied with the government's case as you presented it and your fellow prosecutors, sir?
Absolutely.
One of the jurors agreed that Wing did present his case well. Andrew Choa tells ABC News.
An extremely skillful, brilliant job. But the jury came to the conclusion that their presentation of the case did not allow them to arrive at a verdict that was otherwise than the one that was given.
And Choa says the credibility of John Dean as a witness against Mitchell and Stans was not the deciding factor. What about Dean's credibility? Here's ABC's Vic Ratner in Washington.
Lawyers at the special prosecutor's office here were disappointed but not disheartened at the verdict in New York. They feel that the Vesco case had little connection with their major Watergate cases. They feel John Dean's testimony played only a small part at the Vesco trial. He'll play a much bigger role in future Watergate trials. The Vesco case wasn't even the special prosecutor's baby, having originated in the U.S. Attorney's Office in New York and being handled there all along. Vic Ratner, ABC News, Washington.
ABC's Jerry Landay reports that President Nixon is being described as pleased about the not guilty verdict for Mitchell and Stans and their families. We asked ABC's Ted Koppel, who's traveling with Secretary of State Henry Kissinger in Geneva, if the verdict will have an effect on Kissinger's current negotiations.
Some of the president's critics in Congress have been suggesting for several weeks now that the United States might be forced to make negotiating concessions simply because the president is in a weakened position at home. The fact that Messrs. Mitchell and Stans have now been acquitted is not, of course, going to take the heat off altogether. There is still the danger of impeachment hanging over the president, but Secretary Kissinger was clearly elated when he heard the news of the acquittal this evening and felt that his hand was somewhat strengthened as he goes in now to his first round of negotiations with Soviet Foreign Minister Gromyko here in Geneva.
Correspondent Koppel said Kissinger was beaming when he heard the news that Mitchell and Stans had been acquitted in the Vesco affair. This is Information Radio News.